everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the subscribers. And if you're watching for the first time, welcome to Denise's Island Dream. Obviously, I'm Denise, and today I'm going to share my heart. I do like to share what God puts in my heart. There are sometimes it can be challenging, but I've learned to just follow everything that God tells me to do. I mean, it's something that I'd committed to do um, some years ago. And I promised God, anywhere that He wants me to go, I'll go. Anything that He wants me to say, I'll say. Anything that He wants me to do, I'll do. So here I am. So don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, so talking about the narcissist today, and yeah, as you all know, um, my marriage has ended, was with a narcissist. Not officially, it hasn't come to the divorce proceedings as yet, but that will come at the appointed time. So the narcissist, their aim is to destroy you. That's what they live for. They'll destroy you emotionally, they'll destroy you spiritually, they'll try to, and financially, they will. Um, just in so many ways. And let me just share my experience, my experiences, and what God has told. I'll share with you what God has told me. Now, with the ex, it was in his heart. It was in his plans. I believe it was premeditated. For him to, he actually said it. When God told me to record him, God told me start to record him, and I actually got it on, got him recorded, and that's what I could use for the police and the courts, that he'll destroy everything. Threatened to crash the car, and in fact had already crashed the car several times. The first time, well, he hit the post actually, coming into the carport. At that time, God was dealing with me about, because he's a very angry person and would provoke me and trigger me, and I would start to react to him and argue back. And God just told me that, and it says it in the Bible, anger lies in the bosom of fools, and that I was behaving like a fool, responding to him by arguing. So I needed to stop arguing with him and stop getting angry. So God was dealing with me about my own anger, what he would, trigger. So this one day, he drops his mum off to church. In the morning, he was arguing away with her, cursing her, doing all sorts of things, and I jumped in and basically told him to back off. He's his mum, and you're under a curse basically when you're cursing your mum. And he turned on me. So he dropped her to church, and when he came back, I was inside, and he'd reversed the car into the carport and dented the bumper. So he comes in and said, "You see why you make me do?" I'm thinking, what? I made him go into the carpool, me and his mum. How did you work that out? What, were we driving? I weren't even in the car. Narcissists don't take any responsibility for their actions. They will always put the blame on somebody else. So I said, okay. And I felt myself getting wound up. And then God reminded me about the anger. So I thought, oh, I'm going to get a bit of duct tape here. So I did. And I put it over my mouth. As a reminder, keep your mouth shut, don't be arguing back. And out I went, and there was, at the time, his nephew's wife, who's now left him, and the nephew's brother. So there they were with the heat gun, getting the bump out the bumper. So I goes out there with my duct tape across my mouth, and the ex-wife took one look at me and said, "Auntie, you're a comedian." Because she burst out laughing, so I was determined I wasn't going to argue. So anyway, the time when he went and crashed the car, it was intentional. It was intentional. I mean, he was taking his sister to St. Elizabeth. Well, we was. And he said he's tired of her. I'm sick of her asking me to do things, take her places. And she upped the money and said, like, she was going to give extra money and whatever. And me being me, I said to him, look, we've got the Airbnb going to St. Elizabeth. I'm hearing about Treasure Beach. At the time he was doing the kitchen. Take a break from doing the kitchen and let's just go to Treasure Beach. At least we can say we've been there, know what it's like. So he agreed and everything was fine. And then off we go, driving nicely. Then all of a sudden, he presses his foot on the accelerator and starts to tailgate the car in front. And I just take out my headphones and I put something spiritual on YouTube, close my eyes, and I'm listening to this message. And I open my eyes, and that was when it impacted the car in front. And, sat in the car basically. I mean, at that point, I did say to his sister, I don't know how much longer I can stay in this marriage. This man's costing me money. He's costing me money. Money that we don't have. So the driver, he'd come out. It was ages after, and then the ex is just sat in the car. I mean, I'm sat in the car because I'm livid, but trying to hold it down, taking some deep breaths. And so he sat in the car, and then the driver that he went into, obviously he's pulled over. This one, he's left the car in the middle of the road, not pulled it over at all, and sits there. So when the man now beckons him to come out, says, "Hey, I mash up my car, you sit down in the car," kind of thing. He goes, so that's when he come out and he's shaking his head and holding his head. He said, I don't know what happened. And I didn't even come out to look at the damage. I just went into the driver's side, and his sister said, can the car still drive? And I just pulled over. And I didn't want to hear what he was saying and everything. And then it turns out that they don't want to go through court, but it's 30,000, something like that, to fix the car. and basically said, when can you pay it by? Such and such and such. Like, gave him about 4 weeks. So we ain't got that hundred and mash dollars to go and pay. So somebody came to mind. Now, the person that came to mind, there was a piece of equipment that they that they'd wanted. Let me put it that way. I'm trying to be diplomatic and hopefully get the message across. And that piece of equipment was worth more than this debt. So basically, they'd expressed an interest in getting that piece of equipment. So it was put to them, if they'd want to buy it, basically, and explained about the car accident and needed the money, this, that, and the other. So the person said that, words to this effect, that they're basically not short of money. They didn't want that was it. They didn't want that piece of equipment because it would have been too big. So it was then said, well, take it as security because it would have been more than the debt. Take it as security. And the person said that they're not in need of money. And again, it was just too big a equipment to keep because they've only got a small property. So basically entrusted that, okay, I'm happy to lend you, and I did do an IOU and paid back 50,000 while he was still around towards the debt. So after that now, obviously we split up now, and he's gone back to England and has left me with this debt. And I remember when I went to the lawyer, when the doctors, the psychiatrist said to me that, this is a dangerous man, you need to get yourself protected, and, advised me to contact the police and you need to get a court order. So I followed their instructions, which I know was God speaking through them, directing me and guiding me in the way to go. So the lawyer said to me, when I said about that debt, there was some other debts, I'll tell you about the others, well, the other one. And the lawyer said to me, why are you paying his debts? And I paused for a bit and thought, well, I just feel responsible because I was with him. And with this particular one, this particular person, I knew them through my link, basically. So we knew the person at the same time. I didn't know them before, but because it was my link, it was like, well, my responsibility. And the lawyer was saying, stop taking on his responsibilities and, let him get on and pay his own debts, basically. So the other debt, I've talked about it before, was when he was nicking, thieving light. And JPS came and the police and had to pay them off. $500,000. So obviously didn't have the money. They were telling me, well, obviously see that I'm English, go and talk to your family in England. I'm thinking, my family, you're crazy. They don't even want me to be here. I didn't say that to them, but I'm thinking that in my mind. And so his brother-in-law, he went to his sister. She doesn't have the money, but she ends up giving some. I mean, I went further into the details, so I'm not going to go into everything. And he asked his sister if her husband has got, would he be able to lend him the money? And his sister said, I don't know, you'd have to ask him. So he goes and asks him. And he did. He took out a loan and he gave him some money, and the sister also gave some money. And now he's gone. It's like I'm left with that responsibility. And because of that, if it hadn't have been for the fact that that debt was out there, that brother-in-law could have not have come into my space. The only reason I allowed him to come into my space is thinking like, I owe him money. And I know he wanted my body, but there was no way I was going to give him that. And I said, there's no way, absolutely no way. He'd actually said, basically, because there was a time when, he used to come and do the chickens, pluck the chickens, kill the chickens when he used to raise chickens. And there was a time when, afterwards, because of family not paying them, buy them some Guinness. He bought him a couple of bottles of Guinness, and the tech chicken and whatever. So when I was handing him handing him the Guinness, his hand caught my finger. So for me, I just said, oh, that was my finger, thinking like it was the bottle. But the ex had it and spreading it around the world that he was pulling off my finger. And then he was saying to me, you said, ouch, my finger. I know what these men are like. They'll do things brazen. He was actually talking about himself. And he made a big thing of it that I was thinking to myself, I was even doubting myself because it was like nothing. It was something and nothing, and he made a big meal of it. And so now when obviously I'm talking to the brother-in-law about all the things that had taken place, and that being one of them, he's basically jumped on that and said, oh, he's actually given you to me. I went, hang on a bit, I don't belong to anybody. You've got your wife. You've got your wife. I ain't interested. And I started to kind of, because he'd say, take him to here, there and everywhere, and he'd pay me, with work and whatever, to go around and see the clients. But then I realised sometimes he wasn't paying me and putting back in the fuel back in. So I know that was his way of kind of getting back some of the debt. So, people were saying to me, and I was telling other people about it. They said, you didn't put your name on anything. Why are you paying the debt? Well, I just feel responsible. That was what it was. I just felt responsible, basically. And so recently, so what I've been doing, back to the first person story, what I was doing is just being transparent and telling them the things that have been happening, but gave them my word that I will pay the debt. I'll pay it. So because I hadn't sort of been in contact with them for a little while, I thought they came to my spirit and I said, oh, let me just send them a voice note to tell them I haven't forgotten, but I'm just not in, which is true, I'm not in that position as yet. $80,000 is what's owed to the person. I'm not in that position. but just letting you know, and how are you, and this, that, and the other. And sent the voice note, and I didn't get a response. There was no okay, there was no thumbs up emoji or no acknowledgement, but I know that it was double tick blue, so they'd read the message. Oh, yeah, so some of you know the story about the car. Um, Let me just say this, especially to English women that meet Jamaican men. Sorry to have to say it, and if you're not in this category, Jamaican man, then wow, you're one in a million. You must be the only person on the island. No, I shouldn't probably say that. But from my experience and from the multitudes of people that I've spoken to, know, or heard stories about, listen, when you've got your things, it's yours. Don't be sharing it, or don't feel obligated. You know, you've got your house, you had your house before you met them, it's your house. Whatever you, the proceeds from your money, from your job, it's yours. Let them get their own, basically. And I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm saying that from experience, and, you know, to avoid the cost, because a lot of these people are narcissists. A lot of them are coming from like a poverty mentality. It's a different culture completely. And it's like, even somebody said, it's like this begging. Begging has become the norm. It's like a job, or it's my right to have this, and take what you can get, and there's no conscience to it. So the car, like the house, it was my house that got sold in the UK, and that was my responsibility, that I put his name on half the title, although he come in with nothing. Yeah, he did little bits of work on the house, but he made sure to take that back. But that is a story for another day. Um, and then the car. So everything that I did in Jamaica, half and half. Half and half. Half the property is his, so his name's on the title. And then the car was the same. So when I went to, stay at some friends, and they suggested selling the car, I contacted this person and I said, oh, you'll be able to get your money soon because I've decided to sell the car. And what I was looking to get from it, obviously I couldn't get it. And not just that, he basically wouldn't sign. He knows that I've got the debts to pay. And the reason why I'm selling the car primarily was to pay this person off, especially this person, and the other one, the brother-in-law. You know, I was going to, give him some out of it. Obviously, I needed things myself. I needed a lawnmower, I needed other things, I needed stove, I needed other things. And he refused, the ex refused point blank to sign it over. This is the, oh God, I don't know. This is the evil in them. They will not remember one good thing you did for them. It's sheer evil. They will go the entire length to destroy you. Anybody that's on the receiving end of this person, mark my words. They say those who don't want to hear will feel. You would have got some signs, you would have seen certain things, but you're going to feel it. That's not even a threat. It's not even something that, talking through your bottom, basically. Something that I know, experience. experience is the biggest teacher. And sometimes, like for me now, I'm learning from other people's experiences, but a lot of people have to learn from their own, so let them be. So yes, so I did contact this person and said, oh, I should be selling the car. I'm going to be selling the car, so you get your money soon. And obviously that didn't materialise. Um, I did get some money, to be exact. I was hoping to get, originally, I was hoping to get about 900,000. And then with the battery issue, when they said it's 300, I went, okay, 600 or maybe 5. And then, it goes down. And then in the end, God sends an angel to put 200,000 in my hand because God knows I need a stove. God knows I need a lawnmower. God knows I need a washing machine. I need these things. And sorry, but somebody's, debt, his debt, is not going to come before my needs. That's going to have to be by the way. If I had all that excess money, then fair enough. Now, what I'm learning about hearing God is there's a certain energy that's attached to everything, basically. And I didn't get, there was something in my energy that it was a bit of a depletion in my energy. So I know, I'm addressing God with this. So I said, God, show me what's going on. Because what people say, what people do, what people don't do, it's coded. There are coded messages. And remember, God knows the heart of everybody. God knows my heart. God knows their heart. Remember, the Spirit of God is in me. The Spirit of God is in them. So when the Spirit of God is speaking through them to the Spirit of God in me, then because I've been doing the shadow work, the inner work, and hearing clearer and clearly from God, you can understand what's being said in the person's inaction then, and hear what the Spirit of God is saying to you, what God was saying to me. So I said, God, show me what's going on. And God said to me, that debt isn't your debt. You're not responsible for that debt. And I says, but God, I, gave them a IOU. And God said, you did that in ignorance. And I'm going, what about my integrity? And God said, that's not integrity, that's stupidity. That debt's not your responsibility. And I went, so basically, God's freed me from it. And then there's a thing in me, because you see, with empaths and people that think that, oh, just for peace sake, it's not godly. It's not the way forward, because the thing is, what God showed me was, even with the person, twice, they had 2 opportunities. So the first one was, do you want to buy that piece of equipment? No, they don't want it. And then, in fact, 3 opportunities. The second one, okay, take it as security. And the person said no. When he was leaving to go to the UK, I contacted the person and I said, please could you contact him and tell him that you do need that thing after all, because, it's been months, you haven't had your money. So if you get it off him, I'll be able to get it sold and give you your money. And the person said to me, they don't want to get involved. Now, God said there was involved. Can't just shirk your responsibilities like that. So God was giving an opportunity. The person could have had their money back, but they didn't take responsibility. So God said, it's not your responsibility. Everybody has to take responsibility for their own actions. We really do. And inaction. If we don't do something to secure ourselves, and God will always protect everybody if you're listening, if you can hear. So that's not, God said it's not your responsibility. And then God brought this woman to mind. Oh my God. Right, so I had um, 3 showers. One's installed here in the guest room, electric showers. The second one, I sold it to somebody, and they've got it, it's up and working and everything. So I had one more, and as I put them up on Facebook, on Marketplace, and somebody contacted me and asked to, well, it was, I've got a water heater as well. They asked to buy the water heater, and basically their water system had broken down, and they said that they couldn't manage. They was asking how the water heater worked, and I said I didn't really know. And then they said, oh, I said, what do you need it for? They basically said, shower, their water heater has broken down, so they can't manage the cold shower. So I said, oh, if it's a shower, I've got a shower, which is automatic. You'll turn it on and set the heat to how you want to, and you get instant hot water with your shower. So I sent her the details. It's all boxed and everything. I even said to her, let me come there. No, yeah, so the instructions were on the box. So I sent it to her, and I made sure to say it is UK. It's you need 220 wiring, because it's from the UK. I mean, at first she messed me about a bit, because at first with the heater, she wanted it, get back to me as soon as possible. But I think by the time I got, it was the next day. And when I got back to her, she said, it doesn't matter, I've already got one. And then a few days later, oh, I need it after all. And I reminded her again, it is 220, here's all the instructions on the box. And I did say, because she said, I said, can you come and collect it? She says, well, no, she can't get to Beckletown. Can I meet her in Montego Bay? And I says, well, you'll have to pay my fare. She said, okay. And I said, because the box is a bit big, is it okay for me to take it out the box? She said, no, she wants it in the box. I said, okay, no problem. So met her at court, gave her the thing. She gave me, it was $15,000. She gave me 1,000 for my fare, which is 600. And so I'm in Montego Bay. I get my phone card, get stuff that I need, as you do. The following day, she calls me, and she's basically changed her mind. Can she have a refund? And I said, oh, well, I haven't got that money now. I've spent it. And I did say, yeah, but I have spent it. Anyway, we got into a conversation, started talking about spirituality with God. She's telling me about, her Bible studies, and that's probably the reason why we met. I think you should come to, the Bible study that she has, and this, that, and the other. And she said, something, I haven't even given it a chance. I'm going to get somebody in and get them to have a look at it. So, forget it. I'll keep it. So, because at first her partner was going to put it in, but obviously it was a little bit much because of the wiring. So according to her, she got an electrician. The electrician charged 20,000, and now she said it's not working. So please, can she have a refund? So I said to her, I don't have that money right about now. I said, but as soon as business starts going, yeah, I will give you a refund. There's me taking people's responsibilities again. I will give you a refund, I said. Um, but I don't have it now, so you're going to have to be patient. Then she said to me, have I got a time frame? And I says, well, no, but you can speak to God if you wanted to hurry it up. You're obviously, well, telling me that you're a believer. I'm definitely, a knower. I know God. And speak to God. And, so I say a lot of people that say they know God, they've got no clue. But you speak to God, and God, will bless me and give me the money to pay you. Right about now, money that comes in, my priority is food and my electricity bill, the $400. So, anything else, it's kind of secondary. And I said to her, I've got other people in front of you that I owe money to, not what I owe money to, what he owe money to. So she said, okay. And a couple of weeks later, and incidentally, when God is having this conversation, this about this is not your responsibility, she came to my spirit. And God said, that's not your responsibility. I went, okay. And the following day, I see a message from her. A missed call. I see a message, but I thought, no, I'm going in my yard, because all I saw was, I am exceedingly disappointed. Did I see that word? But she was exceedingly something. I thought, I'm not going to go into it now. There's something about the message that just get on with doing your land, and when you've got time later, you look at it. And basically, she's saying she's exceedingly disappointed that I said I'm going to give her back the money, and I haven't given her back the money, and I want my money by the 21st of May. Ever so demanding she was. So I sent her a message and basically said, I don't have it. So she basically said, I'm going to take this further. And I basically said, well, do what you need to do, my lovely. Because if I don't have it, I don't have it. Simple as. And God hasn't provided me with that money to pay, so, I don't have it. Um, so then, yeah. So then I say to her, funnily enough, I said, actually, I said to her, I'm not paying you back. I don't owe you anything. Because by now she's had the thing about 4, 5, 6 weeks. And I says, first of all, I gave it and you wanted a refund. And then you said you'd keep it. And now you're saying that it's not working. I don't know if you've damaged that, really. I don't know. I don't know if you've damaged it. So I'm not going to take it back. Well, you said that you was, and I went, yeah, that was then, but God's spoken to me since. It's not my responsibility. You go to a shop in Jamaica. I tell you, I bought, as people who've been watching know, a chainsaw, and it weren't working properly. The chain keeps falling off because it's not a very good make. Brought it back, paid $2,500 for them to fix it, because they weren't taking it back even though I brought it back in 30 days. You have 30 days guarantee. I had to pay them an extra $2,500 to in order for them to fix it, because they weren't taking it back. They don't take things back in Jamaica. This is Marketplace, Facebook. You're basically buying at your own risk. You should have done your research. She weren't happy about the fact that I'm now not going to pay her back because it's not my responsibility. And she said, maybe I came to your spirit. I told her she'd come to my spirit. And I didn't go into the other bits. And she says, maybe you came to my spirit because God was saying you've got to keep to your commitment. Now, you can't tell me what God was saying to me. What's God saying to you? So she said, well, I'm not leaving it here. I'm taking it further. And I went, do what you need to do. I said, I'm under God's law. I'm not under man's law. So, I'm not dropping it. Well, don't drop it. I've got no problem with that, but I'm just moving on with my life, basically, like I do. So a week later, I'm at the library and I get a phone call from Consumer Affairs Commission. So I say hello, and she said, is that Denise Daly? I said, who's calling? She said who she was, I forgot her name. And that she was from the Consumer Affairs Commissioning, and she's received a complaint about me. I went, oh yeah. She says, and she mentioned the person's name and about the product. So I basically told her, what I've told you. So she said to me, okay, so what I suggest you do is you get somebody to test because it's your word against her word. She's saying it's faulty. I said it was a brand new product. I've got 2 others. They're working perfectly well. So I don't know if she's damaged it or she hasn't damaged it. And she said, well, what you can do is get somebody in to test it. I went, who, me? And she says, yeah. And I went, I don't need to test anything. I'm not the one that needs the money. Any money that needs to be spent, she can spend and get. And I went, this is Jamaica. Jamaica can buy people off and they can say that something was faulty or whatever. And I went, the bottom line, madam, is I don't have the money to pay her back. And she was talking about, oh, well, as a vendor, I'm not a vendor. I put something on Facebook Marketplace that I was going to sell. People buy things at their own risk. I said, she didn't do her research. It's 220. I said, that woman is very demanding, quite spoilt. And she can't get her way with me because, I'm under the laws of God. And she said, but you said that you was going to give her back the money. That was the kindness of my heart, I said. She said, well, what's happened since then? I went, God's spoken and said it's not my responsibility. I said she should have done her research. She should have, she knew it's not like I didn't tell her. She knew it was 220. It's probably turned out too expensive for her to fit in. And she just wants her money back. And I'm not giving it because I don't have it, and I'm under God's law. And I went, actually, what's your name? And then she went silent. And I went, can I have your name, please, so I can, put you in the hands of God? And she says, well, I don't want to give you my name. And I went, that's okay, because God knows who I'm speaking to. And we'll put this in the hands of God. And I've never seen somebody want to come off the phone so quickly. And that was it. I've not heard anything else since then. Yeah, so it's funny that when I'm at that's the second time I've been at the library and got, a phone call like this, a complaint. Because the last one was when I had the narcissist tenant, and I was at the library, and the rent board, they called me and said that I couldn't lock him out, I couldn't lock the gate. Well, of course I can. It's my property. It belongs to me. And when I told her what I needed to tell her, well, basically, I never heard back from her. And as we all know, he's gone. The point is, I am under God's law. When you do the shadow work, You get rid of all the crap what you're supposed to get rid of in your life. And I'm talking that do the inner work, and people that shouldn't be around you, they'll go, and take responsibility for your own life, not for anybody else's. Because the thing is, if I don't do what God says, then that's my vibration will go down. It really will affect me. And it will also affect them, because when are people going to learn? Every situation and every experience, everything that we go through, it's not an accident, it's not a mistake. There is something that God is trying to show us, and about ourselves, or it's usually about ourselves. So God was telling me, you're taking on people's responsibilities. And I'm not going to now say, yeah, but God, I feel a bit bad because, it don't work like that. The kingdom of heaven, God's ways, I'm telling you, the foolishness of God is wiser than man. The weakness of God is stronger than man. So the best thing to do, and the only thing that I'm doing now, is following what's in my heart. Your heart is where God is, can't mislead and won't mislead. And I don't necessarily see the benefits and the fruits of things straight off. But what I know is that it's going to be for the highest good of myself, of the person the narcissist owes the money to. And, they've got their lesson to learn. And the other demanding, spoilt person that has always clearly got her own way. And funnily enough, thinking about her, when I was actually on the phone to her when she was talking about God and Bible study, I think you should come to the Bible study that I go to, it's so powerful. And then she's talking, and then you hear a lot of commotion I heard a lot of commotion in the background. And apparently the kids were running up and down, and they'd licked the TV, hit the TV. I don't know if it's on the stand or what, but it basically crashed to the floor and broke. And she said it was the second TV they'd had in recent days. The second one that they'd broken, smashed while I was on the phone. And because the kids were running about 50-inch TV that she'd not had for very long. So there's some lessons that needs to be learned, and there's lessons for all of us in our everyday living, in the things that come our way. Some things you just can't avoid, but when they come, I tell you, I know how to deal with life now. I know how to deal with every situation. Basically, I'm guided through. I don't try to work things out anymore. I ask God. I invite the angels. I go within, because that's where the kingdom of God is. It's within. And when I go within, I get the answers, and I do what I have to do. And nothing comes of things. So the rent board couldn't contact me again, and he's gone. The commission, what is it? Consumer Affair Commission? I've not heard anything else. Gone. It all just disappears because it doesn't belong to me. So people, stop taking on people's responsibility. Don't take people's responsibility on. Empaths, it's not your responsibility. Their debt is not your responsibility. I'm done with it. I'm free from it. And, I hope this message has helped somebody. And the people that think that I owe them money, well, guess what? I mean, the person that didn't respond to me, well, perhaps you didn't need to respond to me. I won't be contacting you again, and I certainly won't be paying his debt. You'll need to contact him yourself. And the sister, his sister, the husband, well, thank God, at least the husband could say to his wife, Denise never asked me for no money, it was your brother. So it's between all of you to get the money back off the narcissist. All I can say is good luck. I do wish you well. So on that note, thanks so much for watching, and please like, share, subscribe and comment. So anyway, God bless you all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.